Exclusive interview with Angelina Jolie. As Michael said, she is in Cambodia for the world premiere of her new film about the genocide in that country. She calls it a thank you to the country of Cambodia. Of course, that's where her oldest son, Maddox, was born. And we spoke earlier this morning about the movie, her family, and how they're coping after Jolie's very public divorce from Brad Pitt. The film, of course, is called First They Killed My Father, and you call it the story of war through the eyes of a child. Why was it so important for you to tell this story?
This country means a great deal to me. This country's been through so much, and 40 years ago, this war affected every single individual here, and I wanted to understand myself. I believe that I don't know much of my son's birth parents, but I believe they would have gone through this war. I wanted to understand him and his culture in a deeper way, and I wanted to bring this story to this country in their language. And I wanted to tell the story of Luang Ang, who is a dear friend of mine.
And you've been screening it for the Cambodian royal family, for survivors of that horrible war. I imagine that's kind of a daunting audience.
It is. It is. I was very, very nervous. It's, of course, it's an honor to be allowed to come into a country that is not your own country and to tell its history.
You mentioned your son Maddox. Of course, you adopted him from Cambodia back in 2002, and he was a real partner for you on this film, wasn't he?
He was. He was. I talked to Maddox about this film and about doing it, and it was him in the final hour who said that he was ready and that he wanted to understand more and he wanted to work on it and he wanted me to make it. So being with him on set and studying the history of this country with him and being with his fellow countrymen every day was extraordinary. And Pax also worked on the film and did the still photography.
Yeah,
that was very special.
So do you have budding directors in your family?
I don't know. I think they probably would rather be musicians. I don't know how they feel about film. I think they like the adventure of the crew and they like to be in the thick of it.
How did they feel about eating scorpions?
They're used to eating scorpions, well, especially Shiloh. Shiloh loves a tarantula, loves a bug. They can eat a bag of crickets like a bag of chips. So they're used to it. But no, I'm learning to cook them better. A little more flair, a little more seasoning. So.
Of course, we all know this has been a turbulent time for your family. You filed for divorce last September, as you said, for the health of the family. Is your family healthier now?
We are focusing on the health of our family, and so we will be stronger when we come out of this, because that's what we're determined to do as a family.
And in the past, you described Brad often as a wonderful father, of course, as part of the family. Do you still believe that?
Of course, of course. We will always be a family, always.
I know you've also spoken out for so long about refugee policy as well. You wrote an op-ed earlier this month saying that you wish the U.S. refugee policy would be based on facts, not fear. What did you mean by that exactly?
Who are we? We are people as Americans who represent something to the world, and we have to understand who these people are we're speaking of, and we have to remain tolerant and open and base our policies on facts and civil rights and human rights.
The president says he's going to have a new executive order this week. As you may know, he watches a lot of morning television. What's the most important thing you think he needs to know about what you've learned about refugees?
Well, I would bring it back to my friend Luang, who is the subject of this film that I've just done, and she is a proud American citizen who has contributed, who makes our country better by her existence and her citizenship. So I think, and that is how our country was built. That is who we are. So to forget that is to forget to forget ourselves and our core.
You said that this film is in some ways a thank you to Cambodia. Has that country survived and thrived, the country you see today?
Absolutely. And most of all, it is because of the people. They are an extraordinary people. When I first came here, I expected to meet people who had been through so much war and so much violence that they would be a bitter, hardened people. And they are a kind, open, resilient, intelligent, and very, I hope when people see the film, a very creative people, full of love and joy and family. And so for that, Cambodia will rise.
Angelina Jolie, thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
She has showed such a commitment to that country and these issues, but who knew you could eat crickets like potato chips?
Wow. For kids? like a bag of chips. But many are looking forward to seeing the film.
They are, and of course the film First They Killed My Father will be available on Netflix later this year.
All right.